What I'm here to talk to you about is the genealogy or history of one person, me, how I went from supporting Bernie Sanders to leaning towards Trump. And I'm going to sum it up quite simply because I haven't heard this aspect mentioned anywhere else. And first of all, I want to debunk once and for all the myth that Trump supporters are all rednecks. That's just not true. You know, if you look around on social media, you'll find that to be the case. In fact, what we're seeing now, and the reason why I'm making this video, is because we are witnessing not just the emergence of a third party, an independent, imperfect as he may be, but we are also looking at, it's a defining moment in politics and in media. That's my background. I make media and I study media. I've been observing this for a while, the trajectory of the coverage of this election. And it went from the primaries, where Trump was kind of just a spicy figure in a field of many, where the media just jovially went along with it. That Trump character is at it again. Went from that to the oh shit moment, where it was him against Hillary Clinton, and the media realized, wow, he actually has a chance at winning, which opens up an entire Pandora's box for them. So here's why I'm making this video, and it's because, to explain how I went from supporting Bernie, the only candidate in my history, my life, that I've ever sent money to, by the way, how I went from voting for Obama in previous elections, how I went from voting for Bernie in this, supporting Bernie in this election, how did I go from that to Trump? The reason is, and it's more than just not anything but Hillary vote. It's more insidious than that. And it's something no one has talked about on any of the videos I've seen. What it is, when Trump started gaining momentum, and he's an outlier, a maverick, an outsider, however you want to call it, but with a chance of winning, by now it's not... By now it's common knowledge, that the media is colluding to smash him, or to try to smash him. And I say that as a former Obama voter and Bernie supporter this time around. It's clear, it's obvious. You can look at the number of media outlets, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the CNN, etc. Even The Hill started to change. They all became obsessed with smashing Trump. And the reason is they're being told to. It's collusion. Which leads me to the reason why I'm supporting Trump. The reason I'm supporting Trump is because any candidate, aka Clinton, any candidate or party that is able to wrangle and force the collusion of so many massive major media entities is dangerous. That is fascism. That is fascist. That, the collusion of the media entities to mob, it's called mobbing, by the way, you can look it up, it's very interesting, to mob and try to smash and strangle any individual, whether it's Trump or it could be anybody. So the media has obviously demonstrated a capacity that no one has seen. Many observers have said, we have not seen this coordinated degree of collusion before. And I agree, it is fascist. So it's not necessarily that I support Trump per se. What it is that the agents that are able to orchestrate the collusion of these media entities, that is the Democratic Party under Clinton and the affiliates and allies, Obama, etc., Soros. This is fascist. That's fascism. That is an imminent threat to the United States. It's a threat to freedom of speech, and it's one important aspect of this election that seems to have gone overlooked, is not just that the media are colluding, but the fact that this collusion is fascism. This is fascist. It's not a joke. It's not a little throwaway line that people can marvel about, and later they can go back and read the New York Times when the dust has settled, and read about their recipes and real estate on Martha's Vineyard and whatnot. No, it's not a quaint joke. This is fascism. This is the destruction of critical thinking in America. And it's quantifiable. And you can study it. You can study the amount of stories that are lean and the amount of coverage that's dedicated towards either candidate. It's clear, it's obvious. So it is, in summary, it is the collusion itself that I see as fascist and which must be stopped at all costs. If that mechanism, if that fourth branch of government is allowed to persist, if Clinton, forget about the name Clinton, if the enabler of the collusive media is able to achieve power, then the country is lost. America's gone. It is the end. It's not a joke. It's not a quaint little thing that we're going to get. It's the end. It's the end. You can see, why are they so desperate? Why are they so desperate to rig the polls, to skew them with phony sample numbers and problematic methodologies and feed that to the public? That's the other thing. This is the first election excuse me, where social media, non-traditional media is clashing with mainstream media. Mainstream media is pushing this collusive mechanism to ram this down our throats. Pushing back against that is social media and non-traditional media, which you could say includes WikiLeaks. It is also a cataclysmic, it's a clash of media formats. It's not just a clash of political ideologies. It is a clash of information modalities. Also, we are witnessing. That's another reason this election is completely unusual. So, Trump is not perfect at all. I mean, obviously, he's lumpy. He's got his flaws, his warts and all, but he's a lot of the downsides of Trump are being incredibly magnified by the collusive media, which is obvious to me, a former Bernie supporter and Obama voter, educated with a master's degree, white guy, not a redneck. I don't know. I have nothing against rednecks, but this whole meme that the media is creating, part of the collusive meat grinder of the media, it's all wrong. It's sick. The fact that any single entity can direct the collusion of these massive media entities to destroy an ideology or a person or a party, that's fascism. That's not freedom of speech. That's not democracy anymore. That's why I'm not supporting the agents of the collusive media, why I choose not to support Clinton. It happens to be the Democratic Party, who have lost their mantle, by the way, their liberal mantle, and are now operating in this strange quasi-fascist, I don't know what you would call it. It's not, it is a method. It is an ideology, but it's not written down. But it's very disturbing. It's extremely disturbing to me as a teacher, someone who teaches and promotes critical thinking, and to observe the overt, blatant, massive collusion of the media on that scale is fascism. The media colluding on that scale, being directed by Clinton and the Democratic Party, that is fascism. This is not a quaint joke. This is not a little something to place only on InfoWars and to relegate to the backwaters of conspiracy land. No, this is real. It's a conspiracy. It's sad. It's sick. It's sick. You see them all march in step. New York Times, Washington Post, The Hill, CNN. What are they getting out of that? What specifically do they get? Are they getting paid? Is everybody in the organization getting paid? Is it just the editorial staff? Is it the owner and the people, the journalists are not getting paid? Or maybe it's the inverse. Maybe it is you do this or you will lose your job. Is it formalized? Or is it passed down through the grapevine? I'm curious about the mechanism, actually. It's fascinating, although it's sick and fascist. It's fascinating that any single entity can move and compel these media organizations to support a single ideology. That is fascinating, that they can support a single ideology and smash the opposition or try to smash. It's fascinating, but sick, and certainly contrary to the founding notions of the United States, any notion of true critical thinking and thoughtful discourse. Nobody can rightfully argue that it's acceptable. Or if they try, they're admitting and confessing to complicity in a fascist undertaking. Anyway, I'm Mr. J. Often not doing videos, I realize, at least on this channel. You can look back and see a few little ones I did before. But it's so impressive and so monumental and so massive and so such a hinge in the history of the United States and the possible decline of the United States. Because aside from Clinton, aside from whatever party it is, the party that gets in, if the party gets in because of collusion in the media, which is a fascist undertaking, a fascist implementation, then it's all over. If, again, let me repeat, if the entity that has coerced the media to collude in a fascist way, if that entity gets into office, then it's over. Then it's over. It is the final sword in the bull. That's why I don't support that behavior, and I happen to support some of the key platform elements of Trump. He's anti-TPP, pro-states' rights, and his position on immigration. So it was enough, combined with my observation of the fascist behavior in the other party, the Democratic Party, that was enough to make me switch from Trump, Bernie, from Obama, Bernie, over to Trump. And now that brings in, there's a whole floodgate that opens, is that the collusive media is creating an environment where you're not supposed to even speak out about your support for Trump, or you'll be mobbed. It's called mobbing. Go ahead and look it up. Mobbing is similar to bullying, but it's when a group harmonizes and pounces upon the individual outlier to diminish or drive them away. And the forces coordinating the mob are usually propagated by the alphas, who are not actually involved in the mobbing itself. The people involved in mobbing, the mobbers, are betas. They're not alphas. They're betas who either want to hold on to their jobs, display some modicum of sensibility, want to be liked, or need approval. That's what forms the mob. And you see, excuse me, you see a lot of mobbing going on in the lead up to this election. Luckily, when you actually press the button and vote, or write, it's private and anonymous, we should hope. So people can actually vote their conscience when they step into that booth. And, you know, it would be great if Trump was squeaky clean and, you know, was a perfect politician and all that, but that's what people do not want, a politician. That's why he has so much support. The politicians have fucked things up. It's verifiable. That's not just a phantom. It's not a collective delusion. They have fucked it up. They have sold off the country. They are instigating the collusion of the media. They are willing to sell out the country. They do not care about the well-being of the middle class or the regular American. It's true. Anyway, I'm Mr. J, signing out. I don't know how long this has run. But hopefully I'll make a couple more videos. I was busy doing other things, and I'm not doing this for a living, obviously, so whenever I get the chance, or if there's a real strong notion that comes to mind, I'll do this. Maybe more frequently in the future. I was busy working, looking for work, working. As I said before, I'm working overseas because jobs are scarce in America. But I am not content to sit on my ass and take food stamps, so I'm working overseas, where the jobs are. As mentioned, I pivoted to Asia. Not an anti-American at all, by the way. In fact, I see what's happening in this lead up to this election from the aggressive Democratic, or what is now, I don't know what you would call them now, but that party which was formerly behaving as Democrats. I don't know, what can you call that? What is the acronym? The way they're behaving now, the massive, and particularly the collusion of the media, the ability to mobilize the media in such a collusive way. I mean, New York Times, shame on you. It's disgusting. Washington Post, The Hill, CNN. I mean, they're not even pretending to be journalistic outlets anymore. It's disgusting. And then they send me emails saying, hey, how about, would you like to resubscribe to the New York Times? Because I subscribed a while ago. No. Why would I pay to support the propaganda arm of any political entity, Republican or Democrat or independent? I just want objective news. I don't want to pay to support the propaganda arm of an entity which is promoting the collusion of media in order to destroy critical thinking in America. You're supposed to be a fucking journalism outlet. You're supposed to be objective. And then you come running to me like a prostitute, sitting on my lap? New York Times, come on. Pull yourself together. And after this, they're going to, here's what's going to happen. After the election's over, however it works out, whether Trump or Clinton, all of the media groups, they'll kind of be a pause. They'll sort of talk amongst themselves. Hey, what should we do? How should we get back to normal? Let's slowly ease back to normal by throwing in some objective journalism. And then people will forget the way we behaved in October and September. We don't have that short of a memory. I mean, hopefully we don't. No. You are out of my book forever. I'm just one, but I'm sure there are thousands, if not tens of thousands. New York Times, Washington Post, you're out of my book forever. You're not objective. You're not a real, it's not real journalism. You broke the code. You lost the trust. It's not coming back. Go do something else. Write fiction. I mean, really, sci-fi or romantic fiction. Washington Post or New York Times, you can create weekly stories like romantic fiction or sci-fi, something that sells. I mean, just be upfront about it. Just make fiction. It could be political fiction, I guess, or but don't pretend to be an objective journalism anymore. It's gone. That's gone. Let's just be clear about that. That's gone, right? We know that now, right? That's gone. Okay, just checking. Anyway, take it easy. I don't know if anyone's going to watch this, but it's fun to do another video. I'm getting ready to mobilize, actually, for a visit back to the States shortly. After a very interesting episode out here in Asia. I'm Mr. J. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. And however you vote and however you think, all I have to say is think your own thoughts. Find multiple sources and triangulate. Look at the New York Times. Look at Breitbart. Why not? Look at Washington Post. Look at InfoWars for kicks. Why not? Look at it all. Triangulate what's happening. If you go through life like this, how are you benefiting? Are the Democrats running to you? Are they giving you a check to only read the New York Times? Is that how you're benefiting? From sacrificing your critical thinking? Come on. Anyway, see you later. Bye-bye.